Remember, you can pause this tutorial anytime you want to slow down and reflect or take notes. We'll be discussing 3 steps to building a good summary, and these include reading strategies, pre-writing, and the actual writing of the summary. Here's a preview of the steps we'll be covering. First, we'll talk about how to annotate or take notes and identify main ideas as we read. Then we'll talk about how to make a list of those main ideas we identified while avoiding plagiarism and personal opinion. Lastly, we'll talk about writing your summary, starting with important background information and how to include main ideas from your list into your summary. And we'll show you how to include reporting verbs and transitions to your summary, as well as how to conclude and cite your summary. The first step is to annotate as you read. When you annotate, try to find all the main points or ideas in what you're reading, and note places where the author shifts to new ideas. A lot of times we can find an author's main ideas in the topic sentences, usually the first sentences of the body paragraphs. The introduction and conclusion paragraphs probably won't have topic sentences, although they will often contain the author's overall main point. After you've annotated and identified the author's main ideas, make a list of those main ideas or points on a separate sheet of paper or a document. Be sure to record the main ideas or points in your own words and try to write complete sentences when possible. This will make it easier to write your summary later. When recording your own list of main ideas or points, be sure you're using your own words and phrasing. Think about reading the paragraph and then looking away as you record its main idea. If you look directly at the paragraph while making your list, you're likely to borrow some of the author's exact words or phrasing. That's plagiarism. If you're not sure about a paragraph's main idea, think about what a majority of readers would identify as its main idea. This goes along with another thing to keep in mind as you're making your list. Remember, in a summary, we're just reporting what another person has written, not reacting to it or judging it. Here are some examples of words and phrases that shouldn't show up in your summary. Again, your personal opinions or reactions shouldn't show up in your summary. You might have heard that saying there's no I in the word team. Well, just remember, there's no I in the word summary either. Now that you have a list of main ideas, you're ready to start writing your summary. Most summaries you'll write will be about a single paragraph, so that's what we'll be practicing here. Here are the steps that were mentioned at the beginning of the tutorial. We'll be going into more detail on each step, beginning with step 1, how to start with important background information. You'll need to familiarize your reader with the big picture before going into details. This important information includes the genre or type of work you're summarizing, the title, the author, and the overall main idea or point. Once you've introduced your reader to the big picture, it's time for step 2, selecting which ideas from your list to include in your summary. Think about how long your summary needs to be. A lot of summaries are about a quarter of the length of the work you're summarizing, but they can be shorter or longer depending on the situation. If your instructor asks you to write a summary for an assignment, be sure to find out how long the summary is supposed to be. Once you've looked at your list of main ideas for what to include, you're ready to start putting those ideas into the body of your actual summary. As you can see here, you'll want to begin your summary with the important background information we discussed earlier. A lot of times you can simply present the main ideas from your list in the same order you recorded them. The example we're building here is a fairly detailed summary. However, I can still remove some details if it looks like my summary is going to be too long. The next step is to add reporting verbs and tags so your reader understands that you're reporting someone else's ideas. Here are some examples. We'll want to sprinkle these throughout the body of the summary. The next step is to add some transitions to show the relationships of the main ideas to each other. You'll probably be using a lot of transitions that show the sequence of things. For example, first Smith says, then she claims, and finally she points out. You can also include transitions that show how the author states additional main ideas, compares or contrasts main ideas, or how she provides important details. These are just some examples. You can find many, many more transitions if you look online or in a writing textbook. To wrap up your summary, you'll want to state any important conclusions or final thoughts that the author mentions. These will often appear in the author's final paragraphs. The last step in writing your summary is to cite the page numbers of the work you're summarizing. This can usually be done by adding the page numbers of the work you summarized in parentheses at the end of your summary. Now your summary is complete and ready for you to review. Let's review the steps we talked about, starting with reading and pre-writing. Step 1, look for and annotate main ideas as you read. Step 2, make a list of those main ideas in your own words and phrasing. And let's quickly review the steps for writing the actual summary. The first step is to start with important background information. Step 2 includes selecting the main ideas from your list and then writing them into the body of your summary. Steps 3 and 4 require adding reporting verbs and transitions to your summary, and steps 5 and 6 ask you to note the author's concluding thoughts and cite the page numbers of the work you just summarized.